loose and actually washed into shore. But the Coast Guard and the folks from the Miami Beach Police Department got out of their boats. They threw some lines onto the barge, and then they pulled it back out. So that is now in place. And like a lot of cities, the party will go late. But here, the party will go until around 7:07 a.m. to be exact. That's because a lot of people are expected to go to the beach and watch the first sunrise of the millennium in an urban area. And that'll be visible right here on Miami Beach. So a wonderful night here, as in so many cities. A lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement, Brian. And I know that these aren't the fireworks yet, but we were given this, let's just see. There we go. Happy New Year.
Wow, we'll be rerunning that moment all evening long. Carrie Sanders, thanks. Happy New Year to you. Carrie Sanders in South Beach, where a great party location in this country. Another one is New Orleans, Louisiana. And this is the activity on stage at what passes for their official city celebration. We're looking at, 18 minutes here to go. New Orleans, one of the other major big cities that will be falling, as they say, shortly as midnight arrives. Let's try to listen to some of this.
New Orleans, Kentucky still here. Kentucky still here. They haven't left yet. Venezuela.
Okay, those who expect Cajun got Latin, and those who heard me refer to New Orleans in the Eastern time zone, apologies, I know better, an hour behind, so that'll be 1 a.m. Eastern time before they get it. Let's check in on what has been an aspect of this story we're very reluctant to talk about this evening because things are going so well, but report it we must, and that is the constant investigation going on, the checking and double checking, so there won't be a violent incident in this country or anywhere else where Americans gather, for that matter. Justice correspondent Pete Williams following that through investigators. Pete, quiet evening so far, I trust.
Very much so, delightfully so. The National Law Enforcement Command Centers here in Washington that are monitoring the situation nationwide report no serious problems anywhere. Here in Washington, D.C., where security is at an all-time high, more law enforcement officials on the street tonight in the nation's capital than ever before in its history. This is both Washington, D.C. police and the federal officials. Just as much of a presence as you're looking at now in Times Square. But while we look at those pictures, I'm telling you about what's happening in Washington, where officials have chased down probably now almost 30 reports of suspicious packages. And that's not a sign of lots of suspicious packages being around any more than normal. That's simply a sign of a lot more eyes looking for anything that anybody isn't claiming. All of those things have to be checked out. The bomb squads respond, and so far nothing has turned up in any of them. The only thing that hasn't gone completely according to plan with the security is that part of the little barrier, the snow fence it's called, the wood and wire fence that was put up around the mall to direct people toward the metal detectors, finally was just overwhelmed by the crowd, and the officials there decided it was no problem, might as well let them go on in because they still have the maximum security area around nearest the Lincoln Memorial where the president and the dignitaries are and where the security is at its highest. So it was decided that that was no big deal. So, Brian, as law enforcement officials watch very carefully, the news is good.
Couldn't be better from this vantage point, apparently yours. Pete, thanks for that. Switching briefly to Ken Allard, who is a retired colonel, Bosnia veteran, and an MSNBC military analyst. Ken, to put it in an expression, who do we thank for this? To what do you attribute this delightful peace and good cheer and just what is shaping up to be a fabulous New Year's Eve in this country?
Well, again, all credit, Brian, has got to go here to the preparation, not only for Y2K, but also to the military and also to the security forces, as well as to the police forces. You know, countermeasures work, and there's no substitute for preparation. And again, it seems now, fortunately, to this point, to be paying off.
All right, Ken Allard, thanks. We'll be checking with you again. And Chip Reed, our correspondent at the Y2K, boy, it's been off and on billed as a survival center back when the dire predictors were winning this debate. The Y2K Command Center in the old Secret Service headquarters in Washington. Chip, this has got to be, while something short of champagne corks, this has got to be a good, safe, secure feeling and a happy night for these people who've devoted 2 years of their lives to this cause.
Absolutely, Brian, and you've been showing those crowds behind reporters, and I'm getting a tad jealous about it, but let me show you the crowd behind me. And I'm going to make the argument that this crowd, in one sense, is even more important than those other crowds. If these people were running around frantically or hysterically, you'd know there were big problems, but I think it's fair to say they look bored, they are bored, Brian, because there is so little going on. In fact, the kind of glitches we're getting are things like the website for the Star Trek website is showing that the next episode is going to be on January 1st, the year 1900, and that's going to get a lot of Star Trek fans very depressed. And that is the kind of thing we're dealing with, some very minor glitches, nothing to worry about, really. Glitches across the country, minor things, but no part of the U.S. infrastructure is going to suffer major problems. Brian?
Chip Reed, thanks. We'll alert George Lucas. It'll come as a major surprise. The Associated Press lead at this hour, quote, "There have been no runs on U.S. banks in advance of Y2K. It is made painfully obvious if you stake yourself outside a cash machine, say on Manhattan's west side, not far from Lincoln Center, as our chief financial correspondent Mike Jensen has. Mike, I assume there's still cash in the account and the machine is still working swimmingly. Any demand for it?"
Yeah, well, right now it's kind of dried up, Brian. We've been here off and on all day, and usually there have been lines of 2 or 3 people at a time. Right now it looks like just about everybody who wanted to get money out of the ATM for their partying tonight has got it. You may be able to hear some of the music we've got drifting over from Lincoln Center. We're beginning to get a little bit of the spillover. Now that the crowd has been shut down, they're not accepting any more people in Times Square. But the money is there. We've had these folks, as I mentioned to you before, out around the country checking every few hours at ATMs in 7 different cities. We haven't had a single one that's had a problem, so all good news so far.
All right, Mike Jensen, thank you very much. We just saw the young woman from Doctors Without Borders who gets to press the button and drop the ball, and that is coming up very shortly in about 12 minutes. Stay with NBC News Live coverage right after this break.
As long as there are Sunday drives in the country and holiday flights home, as long as big cities need bright lights and we never get tired of things that go fast and far and high, the people of Texaco will go to the ends of the earth to find the energy the world needs to keep going.
This is it! We're here!
Texaco, a world of energy.
Don't you just love this job?
Your telecom integration.
Okay, it's not my call. We gotta look at Williams Communications. They can make LANs talk to toaster ovens if you want. Plus, they've got thousands of feet on the street to keep our network working. Williams has it all. Data, voice, video, internet, integration, telepathy. I hear they have telepathy services, Sandy. We'll already know what our customers want. It's brilliant.
It's telephony.
Telepathy, I know.
No, telephony.
Telepathy, I've got it.
No, telephony.
I'm glad you like it.
We didn't invent the idea of handpicking 20 exceptional stocks for a powerful fund, but we have practically perfected it. Call 1-888-4STRONG today. You're one call away from a strong portfolio.
Now, lower your score, drive longer, hit straighter with Golf Digest. Call now for your risk-free trial issue. If you like it, get 11 more, 12 in all for $19.97. Plus this stroke-saving video free. Call 800-391-0707.
The King brothers, separated at birth. George King would wind up living with a family that subscribed to popular fishing magazines. James went to a family that subscribed to the Wall Street Journal. As the years passed and the boys grew, George spent most of his time in front of the television, watching fishing shows, while James read the journal like a sponge, absorbing ideas, insight, and getting a real sense of the opportunities surrounding him. 28 years later, George lives at home with his parents, while his brother James started a B2B web company, got mezzanine financing, and went public with a record first-day pop. Food for thought. especially since you can get 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal for just 57 cents a day. That's 25% off the regular subscription. Subscribe now. Call 800-952-2626. That's 800-952-2626. The Wall Street Journal. Adventures in Capitalism.
Very hard not to allow New York to yet again overshadow the smaller sister to the south, Washington, D.C. They are getting ready for their big bash on the Mall as we focus in on the Washington Monument, or attempt to. Back to Times Square in New York, the granddaddy of them all, the original. 9 minutes and change away from this. Let's go to correspondent Lori Dew. It must be getting loud up at your vantage point above the crowd, Lori.
Indeed, it is getting so loud, Brian. The crowd is in what can only be described as a euphoric frenzy. To help everyone get in the mood, they've been playing an assortment of good old American songs, from big band to Elvis, Jerry Lee Lewis, the Supremes, the Beach Boys, disco, and the last song they played was Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I think on a night like tonight, everyone wants to have fun. I think everybody's going to have a great time. And just behind me, they're bringing in balloons by the hundreds. And on the stage right behind me, Mayor Rudy Giuliani is there. He's getting ready to push the button to lower the Millennium Ball. Everything is swinging into place right now. It is really a sea of humanity here, Brian. Just so many people. And on a more serious note, about an hour and a half ago, New York City Police closed this area. Times Square became full capacity. 2 million people are believed to be here tonight. That is more than the population of some states. And last year, by comparison, 500,000 people were here. Of course, that number has quadrupled. And one more statistic that I believe you mentioned earlier, Brian. The last time 2 million people were in Times Square, it was in August of 1945, a celebration at the end of World War II. And as we're counting down, I think 7 or 8 minutes until the ball drops, it's just palpable. It is just so exciting, Brian.
Lori Dew, thanks. Stay right where you are. There are people everywhere you look, and let's not forget about, and they can be numbered in the tens of thousands, the people with absolutely no vantage point on this. They are stuck in side streets. They are hopeful, if nothing else, trying to get through. This is Atlanta, Georgia, and their own first night festivities down there. There was a brief break in the dancing, but we're underway again, apparently. And let's try Washington again. There we are on the Mall, the big 1999 that will transition into 2000. It just dimmed. Let's listen in to what the president is saying.
As we marvel at the changes of the last 100 years, we dream of what changes the next 100 and the next 1,000 will bring. And as powerful as our memories are, our dreams must be even stronger. For when our memories outweigh our dreams, we become old. And it is the eternal destiny of America to remain forever young, always reaching beyond, always becoming, as our founders pledged, a more perfect union. So we Americans must not fear change. Instead, let us welcome it, embrace it, and create it. The great story of the 20th century is the triumph of freedom and free people. A story told in the drama of new immigrants, the struggles for equal rights, the victories over totalitarianism, the stunning advances in economic well-being, in culture, in health, in space, in telecommunications, and in building a world in which more than half the people live under governments of their own choosing for the first time in all history. We must never forget the meaning of the 20th century, or the gifts of those who worked and marched, who fought and died for the triumph of freedom. So
Bill Clinton from the Mall in Washington, a president who has been in office 1/7 of the century we're saying farewell to tonight, a man who saw his legacy cemented this past year. He'd much rather be known as the president who came into office with a 3,000-point Dow. Today presides over 11,000 plus. Sadly, it was other matters that would come to define Bill Clinton, at least for the short term. And that is Boston, Massachusetts. There will be this laser show on the Custom House Tower, supposed to go on right up until the big moment, which we suddenly note in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. A graphic we will leave up now. 4 minutes coming up on 4:35 until the big moment. A brief word about what we are going to see when it happens. It is a Waterford crystal ball. Whatever they spent on this ball, they've received tenfold in publicity. You can be sure it's become the most famous orb of any kind, made of anything in the world. We've seen 10 shots of it at least preparing itself. It again weighs over 1,000 pounds. It's going to be lowered down a 77-foot pole at midnight. And it is the first year for this. It has all kinds of characteristics they badly want us to know, along with the folks at Philips who make the light bulbs that go in the little sockets. There are 7 points on each glass star, for 1 point for each continent, and so on and so forth. It is made for maximum brightness, obviously. It replaces, they've tried several different things. They've tried an aluminum ball. They tried an apple for a while there. The first one so many years ago was just kind of a makeshift affair, based on the once-a-day dropping of a ball at the U.S. Navy Observatory, where they did it to mark time for ships years ago. It was a naval custom, the dropping of the ball was. Now it's become a big business, and in the city of New York, a science. The building, 1 Times Square, top of which rests the ball, there it is. It's been through good financial times and bad. It becomes famous for 1 day a year, and its 15 minutes are fully underway now. 3 minutes coming up even until we bring in the year 2000 in New York. We've said it, if you're just joining us, we have no news developments of any consequence to share with you. We have no incidents of computer glitches to speak of. And God forbid, and God willing, we have no incidents of any other kind of violent acts to share with you tonight across the United States, or for that matter around the world. American people and the global community have been blessed with what appears to be a peaceful and happy New Year's Eve, starting with the very first celebrations, with the first midnight marked with the Christmas Islands in the Pacific Ocean, and right up until this point right now, the midnight Eastern Time mark that will bring the year 2000 to, you're looking at Miami, to cities up and down the East Coast of the United States, on up into Canada and down to the south into South America. It is a great joy to report the lack of any violence this night. After so many reports, alerts from the government, threats, official and anonymous, and so we're happy to report the lack of computer glitches. Now, obviously, we're not over the hump on any of these categories yet. The federal officials are warning us on both. But for now, this will, the ball drop will come after a day that has been just superb and has given American television viewers a real and true sense of global community. Being one with all the nations in the world, casting aside any language or geographical barriers, this is a single story this day. Everyone is linked by this, the arrival of a new century, the arrival of the year 2000, and farewell to the old. There is Mayor Giuliani, along with the representative of the Nobel Prize-winning group Doctors Without Borders, and with that flick of the wrist, the ball is now in progress. Down a 77-foot pole. We'll leave you now for a few minutes. From here on out, this is the city of New York, New Year's Eve, 1999, and we welcome the year 2000. This moment is for everyone who committed to memory the age they'd be at the moment when this happened. It is for all the old folks, and you know who you are, who have pushed yourselves to make it, to see this moment, to live long enough. It is for all of the folks, and we know who they are, who didn't make it, who didn't live to see this. A warning, it's going to take a long time before it looks normal on a check, but enjoy this while you can as we look at New York Harbor and cities all over the East Coast, enjoying the realization as it starts to sink in that the year 2000 has arrived in the United States of America. We'll listen in some more. elation is evident across Times Square. Good reason to just let this play out. We won't be seeing another one of these for quite some time. And as you can tell, a lot of very happy people in New York and up and down the East Coast tonight. We are checking all available sources to those just joining and listening in. The news wires, all our NBC News bureaus and journalists around the world and across the country. And there has been nothing out of the ordinary taking place. It remains a happy and peaceful January 1st, year 2000. It's going to take some getting used to. We should go to the heart of it all, where it may be a tad deafening, but check in with Laurie Dew above the masses in Times Square. Laura, you still there?
I sure am, Brian, and my excellent cameraman is getting some beauty shots, as we call them in the biz, of Times Square. Absolutely an historic, magical, breathtaking moment to be here on this platform when the year 2000 arrived. I absolutely have to tell you, my heart was pounding, my pulse was racing. I have never experienced anything like this before. I don't think anybody up here has. A sea of confetti came flying down right when they lowered the ball. Fireworks, balloons, music, people are lingering, and it's safe to say it's going to be pretty jam-packed here for the next several hours. But of course, this is the city that never sleeps, and I think this party is going to be going on all night. And Brian, if I could take just a few more seconds, the crowd is very orderly. I have to say, some people are starting to file out. A lot are still mingling around the main stage area, but the cops have everything in control right now, and so far we have seen absolutely no sign of any disturbances. Brian?
They're too busy having fun to make mischief tonight, I think, and we want to just underline the point we made earlier, that there is nothing measurable going on in these United States that we should warn our viewers about. Chip Reed, let me be the first to wish you a Happy New Year, and you've been standing by in the command center there for Y2K, and I trust you have nothing of note to pass on.
That is right, Brian. The representatives of the various government agencies have been filing by with their reports after calling out in the field. The power industry, the lights are on, no outages they're aware of. The FCC representative said telecommunications is going swimmingly. The DOT representative said everything is working, quote, seamlessly. The Postal Service, no problems. Defense Department, no problems, and on and on. Apparently the predictions that there would be no major problems are correct. Now, they still say that there could be, for example, local outages around the country as we go from time zone to time zone, but nothing major. There may be some glitches, but no major power outages, no major problems with any of the U.S. infrastructure. Brian?
Chip Reed, thank you. And so we've all learned here together that the nation after which the century was named, if you ask a lot of writers and historians, this American century, the United States of America, is still standing and standing tall at this hour, at coming up on 25 minutes into the new year. All is officially well. There were concerns, as you know, some even dire predictions to the contrary. And I don't think we could be happier about passing on the news that the opposite is true. Times Square will remain as you see it for some time. I don't think anyone is moving for quite some time. I don't think if they wanted to, they could. But New York has been transformed. The point's been made many times this past week that if you want to find a New Yorker, Times Square tonight is not necessarily the place to look. That these are mostly tourists in town for this. Who can blame them? Veterans of this affair will tell you almost to a person it is something to try once, and they'll follow that up with, yes, it is something to try once. A lot of people are getting that in under their belts tonight in Times Square. It has never been brighter. It has never been more maddening looking. For that matter, all the cities we've been showing you in our montage up and down the East Coast, from Boston south to Atlanta and beyond to Miami, Orlando, Florida, New Orleans, Louisiana. Country is really united in this tonight, and what's interesting is in taking, there's Orlando, Florida, take today in context of the entire world, and America had to wait its turn. Had to wait for 200 countries to enjoy this new year before it was time for its East Coast arrival, but I think it's safe to say it was worth it. But really a sense today because of live television, one of the truly great achievements of the last 100 years, that the United States, but one nation, in a closer and closer global village. People starting in this country to realize the planet's diversity thanks to the electronic media. And people certainly realizing today that for one brief shining night now before us, most of the nations of the world, save very few, are now united for one common theme, welcoming a new century to the planet Earth. New York is going great guns at this hour. 12:27 a.m., January 1st, 2000. Here. Number one, this is the way it's being written out around the world on the wire service. Millions joyously packed the city streets of Europe and the Americas to join in a worldwide welcome for the new millennium, ignoring fears of terrorist attack and computer collapse to revel in a shimmering spectacle of song, light, and fireworks. And this note from Hartford, Connecticut, a baby is born 30 seconds after midnight. Maisha Latoya Walker, Hartford Hospital, 7 pounds, 13 ounces. If not the first, it's certainly a candidate for first of the millennium. When we come back, we're going to go to Hong Kong and Chicago and Rome and all kinds of places where they too are enjoying the year 2000. We'll be right back.
In Hollywood, she inspired a generation of actresses. In life, she inspired us all. Audrey Hepburn on Headliners and Legends with Matt Lauer, Sunday at 10 on MSNBC. To clarify investment opportunities, you don't need better reading glasses. You need better reading. Barron's. It's how money becomes wealth. No one looks at the market with a more insightful eye than Barron's, offering timely coverage of stocks, bonds, mutual funds, everything the independent investor needs to stay informed. Subscribe now, and you'll also receive this Barron's Stock Evaluator free. It lets your computer help you turn money into wealth. Get 13 weeks of Barron's and the Stock Evaluator all for only $39. Call now toll-free in the continental U.S. 800-952-2626. That's 800-952-2626.
And welcome back as they clothed and almost clothed to celebrate this new year in New York. The ball is down. The crowds are still out. Ann Thompson standing by in the city of Chicago. You've now seen how it's done. The die is cast. Your work is cut out for you. What can you do?
Oh, we are going to put on a show, Brian. We are here at Navy Pier. 70,000 people have shown up so far, and they just keep coming with a half hour until midnight here in Chicago. The biggest fireworks display in the city's history is ready to go at 4 different sites, including one here at Navy Pier, to light up Chicago's sky to welcome a new year, a new century, and a new millennium. People down here at Navy Pier, this has been the headquarters for family fun. One of the great things as you look at the crowd is to see not only adults who have come down here to celebrate, but families, little kids, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, staying up way past their bedtime, for a once-in-a-lifetime experience, a once-in-a-thousand-year experience to welcome in a new millennium, year 2000. Chicago is ready, set to go, just waiting to get that countdown started. Back to you.
Promises, promises. We'll see, Ann. Sorry, we have to be separated by the years here. You'll love 2000. It feels great here in the East. And now all the way on the other side of things, if you drilled a hole right through the city of New York and kept going, you'd end up where Ned Colt is, where we should point out in Hong Kong, many of the buildings, much of the city that is being illuminated by the first rays of the day did not exist. It was water and marsh, and what an explosion over the past 100 years in that city. Ned Colt, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too, Brian. Yes, indeed, this is a vertical community, as you well know, with one of the most spectacular skylines in the world, all lit up last night with signs that shifted from 1999 to 2000 at the stroke of midnight, and a burst of fireworks over the famous Happy Valley Racecourse, where there was a concert by Sarah Brightman, as well as, again, the fireworks, even a Millennium horse race, which took place just before and just after they crossed the line, just after midnight last night. And up in Beijing, more than 1,000 miles north of us, there were also much more choreographed displays. President Jiang Zemin lit an eternal flame at a new monument there, an altar of the centennial. And that is something that they're saying, as a matter of fact, the millennium really is not going to begin, as far as they're concerned, until the end of this year, but they still celebrated last night. And there are still revelers up in China this morning at the Great Wall. Thousands greeted the first sunrise with a glass of red wine from China, as well as with cheers. Now, there have been some scattered reports of trouble here in terms of Y2K problems, Brian, specifically in Tokyo. Two nuclear power plants reported 3 specific instances of monitoring systems which went down just after midnight. Officials assure the public that there were no dangers to safety, but I think many Japanese are very jittery because the nuclear power industry there has a very checkered past in terms of safety. There were also concerns last night that the phone systems were going down, both landlines as well as cellular telephones there, because lines were jammed. However, that's an annual occurrence, but many people thought it might be Y2K related. It was due to a lot of people getting on the phone, calling friends and relatives and saying Happy New Year, and also asking them just how Y2K was affecting them. We're also hearing from the Philippines of possibly the first casualties of the new year now. Some 3 people at least killed and 200 injured, and that's related to overzealous revelers using guns to fire off into the sky, some of those bullets coming down and apparently hitting people, and also using a lot of handheld fireworks, which caused a lot of trouble. Now, in terms of Y2K, the next big day here is going to be Monday, when all of the financial markets, Singapore, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and Beijing will reopen. But a lot of testing has been going on over the last 10 to 12 hours, and thus far there don't appear to be any major problems in that regard. Brian?
Ned Colt in Hong Kong for us tonight. Thank you very much for that, Ned. And when we come back, among other places, we'll check in with veteran correspondent Keith Miller in the city of Rome. Again, one of those European capitals putting on an extraordinary show today and tonight. And that is at least one corner of now a very littered Times Square in New York this year, 2000.
The race for the White House gets serious with 3 nights of pre-primary debates beginning January 5th. Where does your candidate stand on issues important to America? Join the people of NBC News for complete coverage and analysis. It all starts with the Democrats January 5th at 7 Eastern and a pre-debate special at 6 Eastern. MSNBC, your ticket to Decision 2000.
To giving you enough bandwidth. Enough bandwidth? That's like saying enough cash flow. We gotta call Williams Communications. There'd be no limit to our cash flow because there's no limit to their bandwidth. I mean, you know who has fiber envy over Williams Network? Williams actually grows bandwidth, I think. They must have these huge bandwidth farms that just sprawl on across the American Midwest. Can you see the waving fields of bandwidth just waving in the wind? It bends, but it doesn't break.
In the year 2000, how old will you be? Who can do the math? You'll be my age. Wonder what you'll be doing.
Back then, you couldn't imagine you'd be at Walt Disney World, still feeling like a kid. Come be part of a year-long Millennium celebration you'll never forget. Just call 1-407-WDisney.
All we do, all to do anything. Celebrate the future, hand in hand.
Inside Prudential.com, there's so much you can do and learn. Hear what our stock market experts are saying. Learn all about IRAs and 401ks. Get an instant life insurance quote, or even find a new home. Prudential.com has all kinds of interactive tools to help you save, plan, and invest. It's so easy to use. And there's always something new happening, from insurance to real estate to investments. It's all right here at Prudential.com.
Shopping for office supplies is easy at OfficeMax. Shop by fax, by phone, on the internet at OfficeMax.com, or the good old-fashioned way, by foot. Whichever way you choose, we go to the max for you.
The Strong Enterprise Fund. Past performance is no indication of future results. But then it shouldn't be ignored either. I mean, look at that. Call 1-800-4STRONG today. You're one call away from a strong portfolio.
Sunrise in Cairo, Egypt, as stunning a sight as we've had over these past 24 hours. Some overcast, some morning mist, but promises to be as beautiful in its way as the nighttime, the midnight arrival of the new year was. The European capitals overnight around 7 p.m. East Coast time put on one heck of a show. It was absolutely without precedent as public celebrations go. NBC News correspondent Ron Allen is with us from London, where it is now very early in the morning and where, Ron, Londoners must be recovering from what was some party.
They're starting, I think they're still out there partying, Brian, actually. It's coming up on 6 o'clock in the morning here, and I think many people are going to just stay out all night and continue on. I made my way back from down by the river back here to our studio a little while ago, and the crowds were still packed in the streets. The subway system is open all night. It's free until 9 o'clock in the morning, and there were crowds trying to get home. It's a mayhem out there. The weather also was deteriorating. There was some rain, but that really wasn't dampening the spirits of people who had been out waiting for this event. The city of London, the country of Great Britain, spent about $10 billion trying to put together the biggest Millennium Party anywhere in the world. It's an extravagant party, the most extravagant party in 1,000 years. On the stroke of midnight, London's sky explodes in flames. A massive display of firepower that rains down on some 3 million revelers gathered in the center of the capital. The gala gets rolling when Britain's Prime Minister fires a laser to start the Millennium Wheel, the world's tallest Ferris wheel, 450 feet high, built for the occasion and redefining London's skyline. Spectacular lights and fireworks around the wheel, but they mask an embarrassment. No passengers allowed to ride the $30 million wheel because it failed a safety test. The festivities run for miles along the Thames River, Queen Elizabeth II lighting the beacon of hope, the final flame in a chain of torches stretching the entire length of Great Britain. The royal entourage moves on to the Millennium Dome, billed as the largest dome structure in the world, a $1.2 billion exhibition center in London's Greenwich, where world time, Greenwich Mean Time, begins. Across Europe, spectacular pageantry from capital to capital and their historic landmarks. In Germany, at the Brandenburg Gate, a light show at the Victory Column, trying to create the world's largest pyramid of light. 1.5 million Berliners celebrating the arrival of a new century where the wall that divided them fell just 10 years ago. Paris was determined not to be outdone. 22 Ferris wheels spinning in unison on Europe's most famous boulevard, the Champs-Élysées. But the French saved the best for last, the world-famous Eiffel Tower. 2 million revelers watched by 8,000 police and hundreds of surveillance cameras. But some French families were in no mood to celebrate. 500,000 homes are without power, phones or water following last week's fierce storms. In Rome, St. Peter's Square isn't known as a place for parties except for tonight. Thousands of Roman Catholics celebrating with pop and gospel music. The Pope appeared just before midnight and offered a blessing of serenity and happiness for all. The frail 79-year-old pontiff realizing his dream of leading the church into the third millennium. Here in London, though, perhaps the grandest and perhaps the most expensive celebration of them all, $10 billion. Officials here claim that's more than the world's capitals combined spent to bring in the new millennium. Brian?
Ron Allen in London for us after a long night turned into day. Thank you, Ron. And as Ron mentioned, the Pope did talk right at the stroke of midnight local time. His words included the following: what suffering, what dramatic events, but also what incredible achievements. It was well put by the 79-year-old man. So many Catholics, so many tourists flocked to Rome for this. Our own veteran NBC News correspondent Keith Miller was among them, standing by now with what went on there. Keith, good morning your time, good day your time, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Brian, and Happy New Year to you as well. It was a spectacular night here, I must say, and a night of firsts in many ways. First, I have to tell you, at this hour of the morning in the new millennium, they're doing something very unusual here in St. Peter's Square. They're clearing up empty champagne bottles, not something you normally see in this place of worship and veneration. There was also, for the first time, a rock concert, sort of a rock gospel concert, if you will. Some journalists are walking around saying this is the Catholic Woodstock. I wouldn't quite go that far, but nonetheless, an extraordinarily festive evening, bringing together both gospel, rock, and of course the spirituality of the night. And nobody could do that better than Pope John Paul II, just after the stroke of midnight, with fireworks going off all across the city and church bells pealing. The Pope gave his Urbi et Orbi, of course, his blessing to the city of Rome and to the world. It was a spectacular night, went off without a hitch. The security, of course, was very tight. Police using handheld metal detectors to check most of the people coming into the square, but no difficulties at all. I'm a little bit hoarse from all the talking through the night, Brian, but I'll tell you, the atmosphere here was just magic, and it continues to be. There are some people still around the square now, sort of drifting off home. There will be the first event, if you will, of the millennium from St. Peter's Square. Will be a marathon, and the Pope will come out to give them a blessing as well. Brian?
All right, Keith Miller, good to see you. Keith Miller reporting from Rome tonight. And again, as we've been saying, the early money, if there is such a thing, is on Paris for just perhaps, lest we get mail, putting on the show of shows this past night. Correspondent Donna Friesen is there and was lucky enough to witness it unfold. Donna, good day to you in Paris.
Good morning, Brian. Parisians were determined to create the most beautiful celebration of the evening, and I'm sure many people here believe it was. No doubt those who saw the pictures of the Eiffel Tower around the world believe it was perhaps the most spectacular event. The Eiffel Tower was literally wrapped with lights, about 8 miles of lights that took 3 months to wrap around it. There were 20 mountain climbers at work doing that. They put fireworks throughout the Iron Tower, and at the stroke of midnight, it all began to explode. It started at the bottom of the tower and almost looked as if it was engines on a rocket, and then the lights worked their way up, and at the sort of pinnacle of it all, it almost appeared as if the Eiffel Tower was blasting off into space, which was exactly the effect that the organizers wanted. They wanted to sort of symbolize France blasting off into the new century, the new millennium. It really was spectacular. And right now there's a bit of fog in Paris, but the tower is continuing to sparkle, to shimmer. It just looks like it's got a beautiful robe of shimmering lights on it. So it was really amazing. The estimate is about 1.5 million people who came to the area around the Eiffel Tower, and then here behind me along the Champs-Élysées, where there are a number of Ferris wheels set up that began turning just after midnight and playing music, and again, of course, many, many lights and people dancing and celebrating. I know Keith made reference to all the champagne bottles in Rome. Well, I can tell you there are many, many champagne bottles here as well, and the most obvious sign as I look out on the Champs-Élysées now are street cleaners busy out there cleaning up. But I think Parisians and the French people generally can be proud of the celebration here. As you mentioned, of course, there were many concerns about whether this festivity, whether the celebration would get off the ground because of the fierce storms that ravaged France earlier this week. And there were still about 600,000 homes without power overnight. So there were some areas of this country that didn't celebrate, but
here in Paris, things went off just wonderfully. Brian?
That's artful understatement. Donna Friesen in Paris, thank you for your coverage through the night and now early morning hours. We have a reminder here, there are some big cities to go. The arrival of this new century is nowhere near played out yet. As you look at the waiting time they've got in L.A. and Denver and San Diego and Seattle, it's still a while to go, and we'll have it all for you as we go all night long. A special treat for you now, what may be just, say, the third commercial break of the year 2000 on this network. We'll see you on the other side.
It's taken thousands of hours of work for us to reach these numbers. But for you to reach us, all you need is this number. 1-800-4STRONG. You're one call away from a strong portfolio.
Mama? Honey, can you get me the baby's juice?
Yes, Mama. I'm sorry you're sick.
So am I, honey.
Mama has a headache again.
It's not an ordinary headache. It's a migraine. And Zomig is migraine medicine you can take anytime during the pain. Anytime. Like when the pain begins. Anytime. Like when the pain worsens. Anytime, even when it's full-blown. Zomig relieves most types of migraines. Talk with your doctor and call 1-800-651-1579 for product information and a free trial offer, plus an attack pack dispenser. Zomig is not for everyone. If you have certain types of heart disease or uncontrolled blood pressure, you should not take Zomig. Very rarely, some people without recognized heart disease may have serious heart-related problems. So talk to your doctor if you have risk factors for heart disease, such as smoking, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, or if you are pregnant, nursing, or taking medications. Zomig. Take it over migraine pain anytime.
Sure, my arthritis hurts, but I don't like strong-smelling rubs, so I rub in odor-free Aspercreme.
Clinically proven to relieve minor arthritis pain in minutes.
It works well without the smell.
Aspercreme, clinically proven odor-free pain relief without aspirin.
Golf Digest presents 50 proven ways to lower your score.
To get greater distance, turn your right foot out. For a better backswing, don't slide. Turn your hips instead. To straighten your slice, practice swinging above the ball.
Now, lower your score, drive longer, hit straighter, and play your best golf ever with the 50 new stroke-saving tips, yours in every Golf Digest. Call now for your risk-free trial issue.
Unsure which club to use? Take the longer club, then choke down.
Packed with illustrated tips, plus 2 special pull-out and save sections in every issue. Golf Digest positively guarantees to lower your score or your money back.
Call now and you'll also receive this exclusive stroke-saving video, free.
Call now for your risk-free trial issue of Golf Digest. If you like it, get 11 more issues, 12 in all, for just $19.97. Plus, receive this stroke-saving video free.
Call 800-952-2626.
Welcome back to the early hours of January 1st, the year 2000, as we look at Times Square, which is now a searchlight and laser and PA system show. Made a liar out of me. The crowd is starting to thin out, especially as you get farther and farther away from #1 Times Square. Correspondent Lori Dew, as she has been all night, remains high above the crowd. And Lori, describe what you're seeing down there.
And Brian, let me wish you a Happy New Year. I forgot to do
Thank you, and you the same.
About an hour ago. And the new millennium is just about an hour old here in New York City. And Brian, when the ball dropped here in Times Square, it really was an awesome moment. And I mean that in the most serious use of the word awesome. A deafening roar of people, a sea of confetti, lights, music, and yeah, 2 million people were crowded in here. And I have to say, it really is incredible that for this brief but meaningful stretch of time, 2 million people came together in a very happy moment to ring in not only the new year, not only the new century, but of course, a brand new millennium. And estimates put it that 1 billion people were watching this remarkable event on TV. Now I'm going to turn around and I'm just getting a quick look at the crowd. The crowd is dispersing very peacefully. I guess people making their way back home or to their hotels. The police continuing to keep a watchful eye on the crowds here. And remarkably enough, there seem to have been absolutely no disturbances tonight, and it could not have gone better. And Brian, what can I say except a great time has been had by all.
Lori, thank you, and agreed here as well. And it's important that we repeat for viewers joining us every moment absolutely no computer glitches of any consequence, no kind of any other incidents also across the country. We have nothing of consequence to report at this hour. This is what it was like. Let's listen. What it looked like, 52 minutes ago in New York's Times Square. Having just said a moment ago that we had no news of consequence to report, an item has reached our radar screen here that qualifies in the category consequence from Islamabad. Word that the Islamabad Stock Exchange has become apparently the first casualty of this new 000 rollover. Their computers failed to recognize the new year, luckily, and there may be more of these kinds of stories. They do not involve life or limb. They are the kind of story that will create a little havoc. It'll be temporary and it'll be fixed, but that is what we are reporting, because it's all we know at this hour from Islamabad. The stock exchange has apparently become the first casualty of all this. I'm just being told now that we may have some possible dial tone problems around the Washington, D.C. area. I can tell you that in the northern New Jersey, New York metropolitan area, that would include New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, New York's Long Island, there are no telecommunications problems whatsoever. These kinds of things may happen, and for example, the inability to call right away from the Washington area could be the famous problem of volume. Just as calls go up during halftime of the Super Bowl, on major holidays, and after the first of the year, this could be what we're seeing. So the headline at this hour is the same headline that we've been reporting all evening, and that is that where there's no incident to report, terrorist or otherwise, in any of these 50 states or nations overseas that we're aware of. No computer glitch that we have to report either. As we look at some of the thinning crowd on the floor of New York's Times Square, let's listen into what's left. Perhaps the words of the Associated Press out of Washington sum it up right now. This is a quote: "Americans jubilantly greeted the dawn of the 21st century with fading concerns over a computer glitch that once threatened to disrupt everyday life. Computers controlling everything from airplanes and electric power grids to military operations rolled over dutifully." This country launched a huge effort 2 years ago and spent a lot of money. Government did, companies as well. And it appears that all of those measures tonight, whatever was the original extent of the problem, all of those measures have brought about a satisfactory conclusion. A program note here, we'll be trailing off. John Gibson from Redmond, Washington will take you the rest of the way in the morning. I'll see you at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. But first, a look at how this night has gone. I'm Brian Williams, NBC News.
A kiss is just a kiss, a sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by.
night to remember.
Party!
Or a night to forget. Make Saturday night a night of 2,000 laughs with Time and Again's Best of Saturday Night Live Marathon. Beginning tomorrow at 8 Eastern on MSNBC.
I was one hurting cowboy. Heartburn hotter than a blown engine. And pain? The antacid I took didn't do the whole job. And Pepsi takes so long. Then I tried Alka-Seltzer. Man, if it didn't work a whole lot better.
Alka-Seltzer, the only one with the medicines to relieve all your symptoms.
Boy, it works fast.
And only Alka-Seltzer has the effervescent power to speed relief.
Alka-Seltzer. Made a believer out of me.
Get better relief. Get Alka-Seltzer.
The new fiber optic network.
These guys don't know what they're talking about, Mr. Clavin. I'll tell you who does. Williams Communications. Williams has been building telecom success stories for 15 years. And now, data, voice, video, private label, IP, anything. Everything our customers need. Their network is so on top of it, they put a camel through a needle's eye. It was a small camel. Took some pushing. Oh, I can imagine the look on its face. It'll be like mine.
If you like blues, if you like soul, if you like the original real rock and roll, then this is the album for you. Classics from the Roadhouse. 40 of the all-time greatest blues and R&B recordings, digitally remastered on 2 CDs or 2 cassettes.
You ain't nothing but a hound. Been snooping around my door.
Get Classics from the Roadhouse, more than 2 full hours of rock and Roadhouse music, and you'll also get this 32-page booklet filled with photos, facts, and legends of the blues.
Rock me, baby. Rock me all night long. Got my mojo working.
So get your mojo working, grab a credit card, and get to the phone, because Classics from the Roadhouse is not sold in stores.
To order Classics from the Roadhouse and the 32-page booklet, all for just $26.95 on 2 CDs or $21.95 on 2 cassettes, plus shipping and handling, call 800-313-4400. That's 800-313-4400. Call now.
Hi, everybody. I'm John Gibson at MSNBC.com newsroom in Redmond, Washington. We're going to go right now to Chicago and NBC News correspondent Ann Thompson, where the countdown to the millennium is underway. Ann, can you hear me? Ann Thompson can't hear me yet, but as you can see, we're about 36 seconds from the millennium in the Central Time Zone, which will be Chicago and Dallas and New Orleans. We'll be checking in with those later. Let's listen now to Chicago.
Take the shot. Take the shot.
This is now New Orleans. The millennium being celebrated there as well. Texas, where the year 2000 being ushered in as well. Dallas, New Orleans, and Chicago. Fireworks going off everywhere. And that is Mexico City, the world's largest city, celebrating the year 2000. We'll be able to see if they have the world's largest fireworks in just a second. Happy year, New Year. Happy 2000. And we're back to Chicago. We're on the high and wide shot. You can't hear quite as much of the screaming as you can on the ground, but it's still going on as the fireworks are visible over Lake Michigan. So while the New Year is being celebrated in Dallas, New Orleans, Chicago, and Mexico City, let's check in with New York City, where it has been the year 2000 for an hour now, and NBC's Lori Dew is down in Times Square doing her best to cope with those huge crowds. Hi, Lori.
Hi, John, and let me be the first to wish you a very happy New Year.
I'm not there yet, Lori. I got another couple hours, but well, I'll wish you happy.
Oh, bah humbug. Happy New Year anyway, John. What a night it has been here in Times Square. A breathtaking and historic moment when the Millennium Ball lowered and ushered in the year 2000. I have to say, it was absolutely surreal. 2 million people, many of whom had been waiting for 24 hours, all laughing and screaming and cheering. A sea of confetti, lights, music, balloons. Really just a heck of a party. The crowd is continuing to clear out because, of course, here in New York, the New Year is an hour old. The police are keeping an eye on things, making sure everything will continue to go smoothly as the celebrations continue, as the other time zones begin to ring in the New Year. Just a couple of notes, remarkably enough, there have been no real problems tonight security-wise, and that is thanks in large part to the 8,000 New York City police officers who have been here. Some of them have been in riot gear. Fortunately, none of that was needed. The crowds have been pretty tame as far as New Year's crowds go. Also, perhaps keeping things safe, some plainclothes police officers were scouring the crowds, going through the crowds with handheld metal detectors, so obviously everything worked. It has been, all in all, a wonderful night here in the crossroads of the world. And, John, when you do have the New Year, I hope you have a happy one.
We will indeed. Lori Dew, thanks very much. Lori coming to us from Times Square. Let me go now down to Dallas, Texas, and NBC News correspondent Jim Cummins, who's standing by at a 911 center. Jim, is everything going smoothly?
Everything is going very smoothly here, John. We just had a city official come up here and tell us that there has been nothing out of the ordinary in the city of Dallas or any of the areas around here, including the suburbs, including Fort Worth, this day of Y2K. We just had the celebration here in Dallas downtown, 45,000 people crammed into a 6 square block area. There were about 1,400 police officers assigned to it. Nothing unusual happened. They said that the power system worked, all of the electrical systems worked, the water system worked, the computer system in Dallas worked. They said at one point some hackers from California tried to get into their system and they were repelled. The only thing they were concerned about was the 911 center, because the 911 center gets a lot more phone calls on New Year's Eve, as you might expect. Last year, they had something like 2,000 in the first half hour after midnight on New Year's Eve, and they normally get 200 an hour. So they brought in some extra operators today. And the other thing they're concerned about here, John, is dial tones. They're afraid that a lot of people will pick up their phones to see if they have dial tones, and that would knock the system out. We won't know how that went until we have a news conference here in about 1 hour, and they're going to tell us if people lost phone service. If they did, they plan to put extra police in those neighborhoods until they get 911 service restored. FEMA has a regional office just north of Dallas in Denton, Texas, which serves several states around here and Texas, and they said there was nothing unusual today. They described it as a remarkable day, in fact, for the lack of activity. So it's been a very peaceful and it's been a very happy New Year here in Dallas, Texas.
I take it, Jim, that most Texans are staying in, like people in the rest of the country, and this has been an at-home New Year?
I think it has indeed. In fact, in Fort Worth, Texas, as you know, which is the neighboring city here, they had expected 30,000 people downtown tonight, and they estimated the crowd to be at something like 6,000 to 8,000. Just further evidence that a lot of people did, in fact, stay home.
Jim Cummins in Dallas. Jim, thanks a lot. We appreciate you coming to us.
Happy New Year, John.
Happy New Year, Jim.
Okay.
I think right now I can go to Frederica Whitfield, who joins us live from New Orleans, where Frederica's not ready yet. Let me show you instead these pictures coming to us from Mexico City, where they're bringing in the New Year this hour. The world's largest city. Let's listen in. It may, in fact, be the world's largest New Year celebration.
This is the primary audio circuit.
That, of course, was the signal coming from Mexico City, the world's largest city, celebrating the New Year with fireworks, as you have seen elsewhere. Let me go now to NBC correspondent Chip Reed, who is at the Y2K Center in Washington, D.C. Chip, you have the look on your face as if there has not been any problem around the country that we should know about.
That is basically the state of affairs, John. In fact, this group of people behind me, if you saw them looking frantic and hysterical, that would be something to be worried about. Those are representatives of virtually all the government agencies and sectors of private industry in the United States, everything from telecommunications to transportation to the banks to the Defense Department, and they have just come by here one after another ever since the midnight hour, and they continue to do so, updating us, and they keep telling us that there simply is nothing out there. There are, I'm sure, will be minor glitches that we will find out about eventually. And for example, the electric industry says up and down the East Coast the lights are on. They are aware of no outages, but they do not promise that there will be no outages. They say there probably will be some sporadic here and there, isolated outages around the country, but they are confident that there will be no major problems in any of the sectors, in any parts of the U.S. infrastructure. So I think you'll see those people behind me continue to look a bit passive and even a bit bored. John?
Well, Chip, we have the same situation here at Microsoft's headquarters in Redmond, Washington, where they're not too worried about the world's computer systems either. My question to you about what's going on behind you is why? We seem to have heard for at least a year that there was going to be some kind of problem on the grid or some kind of problem associated with Y2K. Why not?
Well, two takes on that. Number one, John Koskinen, who of course has been the person in charge of this whole effort at the government level, and of course his job is to make sure that private industry and everybody else was in line too. Their take, number one, is they say, yes, there really was a threat. There really was the possibility of a major disaster, but because they, in the government and private industry, got together, spent so much time and money dealing with the problem, they conquered what could have been a disaster. On the other hand, they raised the question themselves today, and they said, well, you know, people are probably going to say, why did we even do this? Look at countries like Russia and China that spent nowhere near the amount of time and money that the United States spent on this, and apparently there are no major problems, nothing that we know of now. Could we have done what they did, which is a far smaller effort, and still survived very well? Well, they say no. In the United States, we're so much more reliant on computers that we really did have to undertake this effort. They also point out they believe that probably in countries like Russia and China and third world countries, there probably are problems that we haven't even heard about yet. There probably will be things that crop up over the coming days and weeks and even over the next couple of months. And even in the United States, they admit there will be problems on Monday. When people go back to work and turn on their computers, there will be sporadic problems across the country. But they say it was necessary to invest this incredible amount of money, about $100 billion across the nation, $8.5 billion by the federal government. If they had not done it, it would have been a disaster. But the disaster has been averted. John?
Chip, the center you're in now, how much longer does it stay in business? All next week, a couple more weeks, a month, or just a few days?
Well, in some way, they're going to stay open right through February 29th because leap year. A lot of people who program computers forgot this was a leap year. Now, they may not actually keep this office space, but the project itself will stay in effect to some degree right through February 29th and past that. They want to make sure there aren't any big problems associated with that. They feel they've gotten basically over the hump at this point, that it's clear there are not going to be any major problems. But how are problems in other parts of the world going to affect the United States? What's the degree of the sporadic outages around the country? They probably won't know till Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. They'll be in effect another couple of weeks, and they'll be monitoring the situation probably into March.
Chip Reed at the Y2K Information Center in Washington. Chip, thanks a lot. We're going to take a break. I'm John Gibson. This is MSNBC's continuing coverage of the millennium. Back in a minute.
Event of the 20th century.
It will not only be a long war, it will be a hard war.
When our nation came together to save the world.
They were just hitting all around us. We had to get off that beach to stay alive.
Time and again brings you the battles, the people, and the story of the Second World War. Special programming begins tomorrow at 2 Eastern on MSNBC.
Your telecom provider should provide...
These guys are okay, Mr. Framer, but to tell you the truth, Williams Communications does it all. They can install it, manage it, monitor it, maintain it, integrate it. Williams is data, voice, video, multi-service, multimedia, multi-platform, wall-to-wall, coast-to-coast, border-to-border, soup to nuts, nuts to bolts, A to C, end-to-end, you and me, all the way. Well, mostly you, sir. Mostly you and you.
What has the world talking? TI programmable DSP. Turning cell phones into handheld engines of information. From the world leader in digital wireless, Texas Instruments.
Now at Zales, you'll find exquisite diamond and platinum jewelry. Your choice, only $199. Here's to another 1,000 years of falling in love. At Zales stores or shop online at zales.com.
Get along, little doggies, your misfortune and
Howdy, this is Don Edwards inviting you to celebrate the heritage of the American West with Saddle Songs, a 32-song collection from Western Jubilee Recording Company.
As I walked up in the streets of Laredo, I'd like to be in Texas for the roundup in the spring.
Relive the West through the wild tales of the punchers, horses that couldn't be rode, and cowboys that couldn't be throwed.
Over the distant ranges came that old familiar call.
Add this set of 32 songs to your collection. Here's how.
Call 1-800-393-2626 or send $19.95 for 2 cassettes or $26.95 for 2 CDs plus $4.95 shipping to Saddle Songs, P.O. Box 4637, Omaha, Nebraska 68104.
Wyoming will be your new.
Big Ben marks the start of the millennium in London, the end of the old one, the start of the new one, and the British put on an amazing fireworks show. Saw that a few hours ago. People are still celebrating in London. Meanwhile, President Clinton got competitive with Tony Blair and put on a big show in Washington, D.C. Let's go now to NBC's Norah O'Donnell at the White House. Nora, how did we compare to London?
Pretty well. Happy New Year, John.
Happy New Year, Nora.
The celebration here at the White House continues into the evening. All of the guests that President Clinton and First Lady Hillary Clinton had on the Washington Mall will come back here to the White House, partying late until the evening. In fact, they're going to stick around for breakfast. There'll be entertainment here, so the party continues. But just hours ago, President Clinton ushered in the new year down at the Washington Mall with a grand Millennium Gala, and he evoked the words in a speech to the nation of Abraham Lincoln, the great emancipator. President Clinton saying that, in fact, we should have a new birth of freedom.
We Americans must not fear change. Instead, let us welcome it, embrace it, and create it. If the story of the 20th century is the triumph of freedom, what will the story of the 21st century be? Let it be the triumph of freedom wisely used. It will require us to share with our fellow Americans and increasingly with our fellow citizens of the world the economic benefits of globalization, the political benefits of democracy.
The president calling on America for a new birth of freedom, to end bigotry, end hatred, to open the gates to a new millennium, for a new America, to end a lot of the hatred that has been part of the last century, President Clinton said earlier today. So he's coming back here to the White House, where again he'll party most of the night with many of the celebrities that were here earlier for dinner, including Sophia Loren, Muhammad Ali, Jack Nicholson, and his date, Laura Flynn Boyle. So all of them headed back here to the White House for a grand celebration. As I said, John, it's going all night long. John?
Well, I imagine that it's going to take a while, Nora, for the president to greet all of those celebrities with such a crowd there. So I hope you get in on some of the fun. Nora O'Donnell at the White House, thanks a lot. Maybe we'll talk to you a little bit later. Meanwhile, NBC News correspondent Pat Dawson is in New York in the World Trade Center, keeping an eye on how things are shaping up in New York City in the aftermath of the big Millennium Blast. Pat?
John, I can tell you essentially everything is working as it's supposed to. As a matter of fact, everything is working as well in the year 2000, as far as we know, as it was in the year 1999. In the city of New York, well, the first issue for them, obviously, at midnight tonight was to check out their 6 primary computer systems, running things like the 911 system, EMS, fire department, the water department. All of those are working exactly as they are supposed to work, which is no surprise. They've run some tests before, and they've spent roughly $300 million on upgrading their computer systems. They will continue through the weekend checking the rest of the city's systems out. Otherwise, it has been, as you have no doubt heard, a very, very quiet night in New York. No significant crime to speak of, over and above what might normally be seen in a city of 7 million people. Obviously, there were no major incidents, at least not to this point. So far, the police report that everything is as they had hoped it would be. A relatively quiet night, despite all the noise in Times Square. So far, really nothing negative to report at all. A very, very quiet night down here, and that's exactly what they were hoping for. John?
Pat Dawson, keeping an eye on events in New York. Pat, thanks very much. Hope to talk to you a little bit later. This is MSNBC's continuing coverage of the Millennium. I'm here for a while. We're going to take a break. Be right back.
The uncertainty across the globe and around the clock. MSNBC's got the Millennium covered.
Now you can discover the untold story of crime and punishment in this free book. Stay tuned. What turns a seemingly normal human being into a cold-blooded killer? To understand, you must investigate beyond the cheap headlines, beyond the TV exposés. To really understand, you must delve into the minds of murderers. Bear witness to their twisted family lives, their secret fears and fantasies, the madness behind their shocking methods. Introducing the Library of True Crime from Time Life Books. Uncut and uncensored, it's a journalistic report of crimes for love, crimes for money, and crimes that defy all logic and humanity. True Crime gives you hundreds of rarely seen photographs, little-known facts, and exclusive interviews. It's the whole story only Time Life can tell. You'll learn how this Playboy playmate drove her hustler husband to murder. Why John Wayne Gacy turned his home into a killing field, his crawl space into a mass grave. Why charming law student Ted Bundy blamed his crimes on pornography when he was driven by far more than sex alone. Call now for Serial Killers, yours for just $9.99. Use your credit card and get a second book, Compulsion to Kill, absolutely free. That's 2 gripping books for less than $10. Other books will follow, one about every other month. From mass murderers and mafia to assassins and cultists, Time Life tells all to help you understand the twisted motivations for unthinkable crimes. So call now and get 2 books for just $9.99. You won't just look into the eyes of a killer, you'll look through them.
Call 1-800-697-4422 to order True Crime for only $9.99 plus $3.95 shipping and handling. Use your credit card and receive Compulsion to Kill free, or send check or money order to True Crime, Department 2, Richmond, Virginia 23280.
The Eiffel Tower in Paris, the fireworks designed to give the illusion of the Eiffel Tower blasting off, carrying France into the new millennium. In Rome, at Vatican City, another spectacular fireworks display as the new millennium is ushered in and the Pope speaks to the crowd. And in Beijing, where they invented fireworks, more fireworks for the new millennium. Still have some fireworks left to go. We're taking your calls at 1-888-MSNBC-USA or email at Y2K@MSNBC.com, and you can get in the chat room at newschat.msnbc.com. More right after this quick break. Stay with us.
In Hollywood, she inspired a generation of actresses. In life, she inspired us all. Audrey Hepburn on Headliners and Legends with Matt Lauer, Sunday at 10 on MSNBC.
Critics are calling Anna and the King a spectacular epic. One magnificent journey, both romantic and thrilling. It's one of the best films of the decade. Anna and the King, rated PG-13. Now playing.
When you want a huge selection of office products, not only will you find it here, you'll find it here. OfficeMax.com. With over 20,000 items at guaranteed low prices, no wonder more people shop OfficeMax.com.
Your telecom integration.
Okay, it's not my call. We gotta look at Williams Communications. They can make LANs talk to WANs, talk to toaster ovens if you want. Plus, they've got thousands of feet on the street to keep our network working. Williams has it all. Data, voice, video, internet, integration, telepathy. I hear they have telepathy services, Sandy. We'll already know what our customers want. It's brilliant.
It's telephony.
Telepathy, I know.
No, telephony.
Telepathy, I've got it.
No, telephony.
I'm glad you like it.
Today, a teenager in Madrid and a teenager in Atlanta discovered an international language, boys. Today, Don Reed found the mutual fund that will put his kids through college. Some new roommates in Boston found their first piece of furniture. Tony Ramos made his latest dance mix available to techno fans worldwide. And Charles Beckman got in touch with his high school sweetheart 60 years after their first kiss. And they all found it on Snap.com.
This is a cordless tool. This is the Cordless Wizard. It's powerful. It's portable, so there's no problem the Wizard can't fix.
I got that.
The Wizard, powered by VersaPack, built by Black & Decker.
Now at Zales, you'll find exquisite diamond and platinum jewelry. Your choice, only $199. Here's to another 1,000 years of falling in love. At Zales stores or shop online at zales.com.
And we still have both Denver and Phoenix coming up in just about 35 minutes. Let's go now to NBC's Bob Kerr at the Federal Aviation Administration Center in Herndon, Virginia. Bob is keeping an eye on air operations throughout the country. Bob, everyone else is saying no problems. How about where you are?
Well, John, the good news here is that there is no bad news. Let's put it that way. They're pretty thrilled about how things have played out tonight. No serious problems, very few problems of any kind, none, they say, relating to safety or the interruption of service. I should point out to you that moments ago we did learn of a minor glitch that hasn't really had an impact that we can tell, but let me tell you what it is. It's that 10 to 12 automatic weather reporting stations in Iowa, in southwestern Iowa, I believe, at small airfields, but they're on the airfields. 10 to 12 automatic weather reporting stations weren't automatically reporting the weather. They don't know what caused this problem. They think it's a phone problem. They don't know for sure whether it was a Y2K problem. They're going to check that out. But there are other ways the pilots can get that information, even by calling in to get it. So it's a problem that was easily surmounted, and it's not adding up to anything terribly significant. One of the things I would like to show you is this board screen behind me, because it really tells a big part of the story tonight, and that is that the number of flights canceled is really significant. Listen to this. On a typical Friday night, and these little dots represent flights, there are 3,000 commercial flights in the air at midnight over the United States. 3,000 commercial flights. New Year's Eve a year ago, there were 1,200 or so commercial flights. At midnight tonight, John, there were just 300 commercial flights over the air in the United States. That's only 10% of the flights that are estimated to be operating next Friday night. So it just shows you how limited the air service was this particular New Year's Eve.
Bob Kerr at the FAA Flight Operations Center in Herndon, Virginia. Bob, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. We're going to take a break. We are still watching for the millennium to come to the Mountain Time Zone in the United States, both Denver and Phoenix, and then we'll move on to the Pacific Time Zone, then the Alaska Time Zone, then the Hawaii Time Zone. We're going to be here all night. Stay with us. We're taking your calls and your email right after this.
Guarding our borders, protecting our streets. America prepares for terrorism as Y2K approaches. Follow the story with MSNBC.
Mystic Music presents 70s Feelings.
Well, that's the way I've always heard it should be. This is for all the lonely people. Sand in the clouds.
Let 70s Feelings awaken the dreams, the romance, the feelings that you remember.
Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I love you. I honestly love you. Loving you is easy.
Order your 70s Feelings today. 2 cassettes only $19.95. 2 CDs only $29.95. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-391-0707 or send $19.95 for 2 cassettes or $29.95 for 2 CDs plus $4.95 shipping to 70s Feelings, P.O. Box 4637, Omaha, Nebraska 68104.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
35 minutes, 30 minutes into the new year in Chicago, the new century, the new millennium, and NBC's Ann Thompson is there to tell us how it is going or maybe how it went. Annie, is it still underway?
It is slowed down here on Navy Pier, John. About a half hour ago, this place was rocking. 70,000 people along guardrails looking out over the lake to watch the new year come in with a spectacular fireworks show from 4 different locations along the lakefront, including one here at Navy Pier. Now, at the beginning of the break, you saw the countdown. That's on the old Amoco building. At midnight, the name changed to the Aon building. There you see some of the wonderful fireworks we were treated to here in Chicago at the stroke of midnight. The largest fireworks display in the city's history. 15,000 shells going up in the air and delighting the crowds, which were not only here on Navy Pier, but all along Chicago's lakefront on, of course, Lake Michigan. It was a wonderful, wonderful New Year. From what we could see, from where we could see here at Navy Pier, one that went without incident. Chicago police were well prepared for this, relying on their experience through 6 Bulls championships and also the World Cup soccer event and the Democratic National Convention. They felt very, very well prepared for anything that might happen, but from what we could see, at least at Navy Pier, people just celebrated, everybody had a good time, and now everybody's trying to get to their parking lots and trying to get home. We can see a little bit of Lakeshore Drive from where I'm standing in traffic. Seems to be moving, albeit a little slower than I suppose most people would like. But other than that, a wonderful New Year here in Chicago.
Ann Thompson in Chicago. Happy Millennium, Ann. Thanks for helping us out. We'll talk to you a little bit later.
Happy Millennium to you, too.
All right. Let's go now to Patty Ann Brown, who is at the AT&T World Headquarters in Bedminster, New Jersey, where I suppose, Patty Ann, the word is the phones are working okay, right?
That's right, John. Everything has gone very smoothly here so far. No Y2K computer-related problems whatsoever to report, and they have experienced what they describe as the typical New Year's Eve spikes in caller volume just after midnight in the various time zones. And those spikes can sometimes be significant enough that they can cause an overflow, and sometimes when people call up during those peak times, anywhere from 10 after 12 until 12:30 in their time zone, they might experience a busy signal or get a message saying that the circuits are busy and to try again later. And here at this operations center, you can actually see those spikes on these various panels behind me, and you can also watch them dissolve within 5 or 10 minutes. The problem is over, but nothing Y2K related. Here at AT&T, they started planning for this 5 years ago. They've spent $740 million to upgrade and test their systems. They did joint testing with their competitors, and they say everything has been absolutely fine on that score. But as we said, in the various time zones, in particular when the clock struck midnight in various areas of Europe, we did see major spikes in volume, which did cause overflow, sometimes as many as 40,000 calls apparently not getting through. But they say that's not unlike any other New Year's Eve, so all seems to be good here, John.
Patty Ann Brown at the AT&T headquarters in Bedminster, New Jersey. Patty Ann, thanks a lot. Now that the new century is upon us, or most of us, we want to talk about what to expect from the world of technology, and we want to hear what you think. Call us at 1-888-MSNBC-USA, or email us at, get this, y2k@msnbc.com. Joining me now, Bob Sullivan is a technology reporter for msnbc.com. In Washington, Rory O'Connor is the editor of the national journal's Tech Daily, who's covered the Silicon Valley for 20 years. Also, MSNBC Internet analyst Omar Wasso joins us from MSNBC headquarters. He is in the chat room talking to you, and I occasionally jump in the chat room myself. Since he's sitting next to me, Bob Sullivan gets to go first. Bob, why do you think this really kind of startling series of reports from flight operations, from phone operations, from electrical operations, which all go like nothing here, back to you, as if this was no big deal a year ago, because it certainly doesn't seem to be a big deal tonight.
So what happened? The question is, did we prepare so well that we had no news, or was there no news in the first place? I think we'll be debating that probably until the year 3000. But there is no other way, I don't think, to frame this other than a great victory for the technologists of the world and the geeks. The skeptics of technology are probably sheepishly hiding in their homes tonight thinking the end of the world hasn't come. And that's a great thing for Silicon Valley.
Rory, are you feeling sheepish, and are you hiding, or will you predict some trouble come Monday when everybody goes back to work and plugs all their stuff in?
I don't think so. I wasn't hiding at home. I didn't recommend anybody hide at home. I'm not sure that it's a great victory for geeks. I bet you in the past year I would have liked to have been one of these guys whose business was to fix the Y2K bug, or at least to look for it. There's an awful lot of money spent here, and as we debate this thing, if we want for the next 1,000 years, we can wonder whether somebody wasn't out there getting rich off of scaring people and having them head out for the farm to live off the electric grid and so forth. I think there was not too much ado about nothing, but more ado about nothing than there should have been.
Omar, we've talked about this a lot over the last year or so. Maybe Rory just touched on it. Was the Y2K bug a money-making exercise for people who squash bugs?
I think that people who sort of promoted this as a serious issue are kind of getting a raw deal, because they now look like they were sort of Chicken Little screaming about the sky is falling. But those folks who said the sky is falling are the ones who helped promote or helped prompt all of us to respond. So in a way, they kind of get the short end of the stick, because if it weren't for them, we might not have responded to the degree that we needed to, but because we did, they look like they were, sort of making it up or something. So I think in fact, it was the people who were screaming and shouting played a vital role in helping to raise awareness and alert everyone else to the fact that this was a serious issue and it did need to be addressed.
All right, Omar, before I go back to the other two guys, let me just put it this way. There was $100 billion spent by American industries to bring themselves up to Y2K compliant. So I'll ask again, was it a money-making exercise for somebody?
Well, sure it was a money-making exercise, but that doesn't mean it was wasted money. I mean, part of what's hard in looking at that $100 billion number is that a lot of money is spent every year anyway. So what happened is a lot of energy was directed away from some programs and to others. And I think Y2K is a serious issue, and it did need to be addressed, and it was. So the people who we should be sort of condemning are the ones who maybe were the most hysterical or were saying that it wasn't something that could be solved. But it was a real issue, and there did need to be resources directed its way. So I don't think that's $100 billion wasted.
Bob Sullivan, I have this feeling of not so fast. Monday's still coming. Everybody's got to go back to work. Have we seen it all, or is there something left to happen? Is there a lag?
No, there's plenty of things left to happen. Lou Mercutio is the Gartner Group expert on this, and he told me just the other day that only 10% of the Y2K bugs are expected to show up in the first 2 weeks. The other 90% anytime during the next year. So there's a lot of news to still hit, but I think the difference is, instead of it all happening at once, which is what everyone was afraid of, that will happen scattershot throughout the course of the next 12 months, and we'll be able to deal with them one at a time.
We have our very first call of the new millennium, and it is Carlos in Illinois. Carlos, you had any tech problems here in the first few minutes of the next 1,000 years?
No, I've not had any tech problems. I think it's pretty much been a Y2K dud. I've got a refrigerator full of water and enough canned food to last for the millennium.
But you got another 1,000 years. You're ready now.
Well, I mean, Carlos, why did you go out and buy all that water and all that canned food?
I didn't think about it until I got to the grocery store today, and it was such a madhouse, just people putting it in carts. And I mean, it wasn't out of control, but I thought, I'd hate to be the only one left standing with nothing to drink or brush my teeth with or anything like that.
Well, Carlos, congratulations. You are covered if the Y2K bug pops up Monday morning. We're going to take a break. As we go out, take a look at these pictures from New York's Times Square as the whooping it up is winding down and people are headed home. They got 1,000 years to begin tomorrow, and they'll get at it as soon as they can wake up. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
The race for the White House gets serious with 3 nights of pre-primary debates beginning January 5th. Where does your candidate stand on issues important to America? Join the people of NBC News for complete coverage and analysis. It all starts with the Democrats January 5th at 7 Eastern and a pre-debate special at 6 Eastern. MSNBC, your ticket to Decision 2000.
When you use the Kodak Picture Maker at Walgreens Photo Center, you can make the perfect gift in less than 5 minutes. You simply print directly from your photo. You can even improve your photos by cropping, reducing red eye, or adding borders and text. Even save your new print on a floppy disk to take with you. The Kodak Picture Maker at Walgreens, where America takes its pictures.
Get 2 sets of prints for one low price. Next day, every day at Walgreens.
Now at Zales, you'll find exquisite diamond and platinum jewelry. Your choice, only $199. Here's to another 1,000 years of falling in love. At Zales stores or shop online at Zales.com.
The King brothers, separated at birth. George King would wind up living with a family that subscribed to popular fishing magazines. James went to a family that subscribed to the Wall Street Journal.
As the years passed and the boys grew, George spent most of his time in front of the television, watching fishing shows, while James read the journal like a sponge, absorbing ideas, insight, and getting a real sense of the opportunities surrounding him. 28 years later, George lives at home with his parents, while his brother James started a B2B web company, got mezzanine financing, and went public with a record first-day pop. Food for thought, especially since you can get 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal for just 57 cents a day. That's 25% off the regular subscription. Subscribe now. Call 800-952-2626. That's 800-952-2626. The Wall Street Journal. Adventures in Capitalism.
Now, lower your score, drive longer, hit straighter with Golf Digest. Call now for your risk-free trial issue. If you like it, get 11 more, 12 in all for $19.97. Plus this stroke-saving video free. Call 800-391-0707.
That is Boise, Idaho. About 18 minutes to go till the new millennium is ushered in Boise, Denver, Phoenix, Calgary, Edmonton. And then we'll head on towards the Pacific time zone. A couple of emails. See what the emailers are writing to us tonight. They're actively away. It's popping up. There it is. Clark, although the new millennium won't arrive till 2001, there's always one of those, isn't there? At least we will no longer be writing 19, whatever, on our checks and documents, and that is momentous in itself. Then one more from Chris. Are we ready? Because there are only 250 days left until Y3K. 365,250 days until Y3K. Yeah, well, are we ready? Roel in New York is on the phone. Roel, were you hiding inside or were you out in Times Square?
No, I was all over the town. I was in the supermarkets this morning, and everyone was buying bottled water like crazy. My comment is that with all the money being spent on Y2K this past year, I always thought it was better to be safe than sorry. I mean, it sounds like some people now miss the scare of Y2K.
No, I don't think we miss it. But, you know, in the aftermath, Roel, you always take a look back and see what actually happened. Rory O'Connor, if that $100 billion hadn't been spent, you think there really would have been more trouble and we would have been reporting